I need to move this pair of dart frogs somewhere else because I want to put an enclosure here for all of the baby garter snakes. And since there's only two of them now, I think the Exoterra terrarium that my crested gecko Morgan is in would be perfect for them. And as beautiful as Morgan's vivarium looked when I first planted it, the prayer plant that I put in here wasn't the best choice. It's just growing too large for this terrarium. And Morgan seems very happy with this overgrown jungle, but I can't even see him in here most of the time. So I'm going to make a new vivarium for Morgan, and then remake this vivarium for the dart frogs. I decided to use this Thrive hexagon terrarium again because I like them. We've had a few days of nice weather, so I was able to go out to the woods and gather a load of moss, and I also found some pieces of wood that are perfect for this build. So to start off with, I used spray foam to completely cover three sides of the terrarium with sheets of bark from a fallen ash tree. After giving that time to cure, I cut away the excess foam and then covered any bare spots with silicone and dry coconut coir. And after letting that cure overnight, the finished background looks like this. While I was spraying down the pieces of wood with the hose, I noticed how these two pieces fit together to form a perfect backbone for this vivarium. Both of these two pieces came from the same fallen red oak tree, which is a beautiful tree that we have a lot of here in Indiana. I'd love to see this entire background and hardscape completely covered with moss, so I'm going to try something that I've never done before. I took a handful of moss and gave it a few pulses in the blender to break it up, and then I added a cup of plain yogurt to form a muddy-looking slurry. And then I used a paintbrush and applied this to every bit of the background and wood. And now we just keep it humid and wait. This process can take a good amount of time for the moss to grow, so time will tell. And I feel about 50% confident that this will work. I temporarily put a fogger on it to help the moss take hold. And this is what that looks like so far. It's fairly normal to have a bloom of mold after planting a new vivarium, and this one is painted with yogurt, so the mold is growing like crazy. This is why you need to let a new vivarium cycle, just like a fish tank, before putting in its resident. So to let this mold cycle off and hopefully see some moss growing, I'll probably need to let this one cycle a little bit longer than usual. But something's still missing, and that thing is plants. I put a Hoya vine along the side of this wood and pinned several vines to the background. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this grows in. I hope it does as well in here as it has in my green tree frogs vivarium. I added some oak leaf creeping fig in several spots, and I'm hoping that that will climb the background as well as forming some ground cover. And along with these beautiful jewel orchids, I planted this North American pitcher plant. This is definitely something I've never grown, and trying it in this vivarium is definitely an experiment. It's a pretty sensitive plant, and I'm really not sure if it will even survive in here. But if it doesn't, that's okay. If need be, I'll just replace it with another syngonium like the one next to it. And of course, I covered the ground with a bed of moss. I really like this for a start, but how this vivarium will really look is going to depend on how it grows in over time. And that's going to be fun to watch. So like I said, I'll be letting this vivarium cycle for some weeks, if not a month, before putting Morgan in here, or at least until I'm confident that this mold has run its course. So I'll definitely be doing an update on this vivarium in the near future, and we'll see how it looks and get Morgan moved in. And once all this is accomplished, I can get the dark frogs taken care of in Morgan's old vivarium and make a new home for the baby garter snakes. So stay tuned to the channel because there's a lot happening right now. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear what you think of this vivarium, so let me know. And I'll see you in the next video.